Our next guest is from my hometown, New York City, although she's from Brooklyn to be specific. Her growing acting career includes phenomenal breakout lead roles, one-woman shows, so much more. She has earned universal praise for her incredible talent. Please welcome Dominique Fishback. You look so good!
Good to see you.
Oh my gosh. Hi. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy you're here.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
I want to jump right in.
Yes, please.
So I want to know the name of the street you grew up on by you telling me either your porn name or your superhero name. Which one do you want to do?
Let's do a porn name.
Hey! I love it, I love it. The first name is your first pet, and then the name of the street you grew up on.
Okay, so my porn name would be Bam Bam
Yes, it would.
Montauk.
That's good.
Yes.
That
Bam
sounds like a
Montauk.
little bit of a fancy Hamptons like porn name.
Exactly.
Bam Bam Montauk.
Bam
I
Bam.
love that. Thank you. Okay, so it was Montauk Street,
Montauk Avenue.
Montauk
Between
Avenue.
Picken and Belmont.
And was it apartment? Was it a house?
Yeah, so it was a house. It was had a basement and 2 stories, but my family owned it. My aunt lived in the front apartment with my cousins, and they're like 5 of them. And then me and my mom lived in the back apartment, just me and my mom. I've been the only child for 15 years. And then upstairs was my grandmother, my aunt, and my cousins.
Was there a backyard?
Yes, but we didn't really use the backyard too much. We used the basement a little bit more.
That was your gathering space.
No, we didn't gather down there.
Oh.
We didn't gather.
No. Was there a lot of stoop hanging?
Yes,
Yes.
100%.
Okay.
My grandmother, kids in my neighborhood used to want to be together all the time. We used to sit on a stoop, but it would be like winter, so we're all huddled up, and she yelled out the window like, "You're gonna catch pneumonia in your ass."
Ah, you'd be like, we're good. Oh, it's so
Yeah.
sweet. Okay, so were there a lot of other kids on the block? Was it a lot of families?
Yeah, it was a lot of kids. When I was about 10, I created this Montauk Kids talent show.
Yeah, you did.
So I got my friends to perform. We did dances. I had an extension cord that went from my house all the way outside. It had a karaoke machine, and I set up some chairs for the people in my neighborhood.
Did you do dancing, singing?
We did dancing, singing. There was a church that ended up being on the corner of my block that we just decided to go. Like, our parents didn't make us go. We just went. It was like something to do.
And you went to church on Sunday?
No, we went like every day.
Every day?
Yeah, just to be together, and we would step and went to like Bible study, like stuff that like our parents didn't even tell us to do. It just was like literally something for us to do.
Were you drawn to that? Was it really just about your friends, or was there something also about the spirituality of it?
Definitely spirituality. When I was like 12, I used to say stuff like, "Oh, I know I'm gonna be a famous actress because God wouldn't make me this way if it wasn't supposed to happen. I know from experience I don't serve a cruel God." I don't even know where I got that from. Because my family we weren't really very religious. We probably going like Easter or Christmas, but then
the holiday.
yeah, once you get a certain age, I think it stopped around like 7 or 8. So I don't even know how that came in my spirit.
It sounds like you have a crew that's like your homegirls that you grew up with.
Even when my best friend was like a sister to me, moved to another block, we just kind of migrated to that block. It was really interesting because I grew up on Montauk, but then right around the corner, like Milford, my great grandmother from my father lived right around the corner. And then like a couple of blocks down, my uncle's mother-in-law lived. So it was like anytime something bad happened, you kind of knew you had landmarks to go to.
Yeah,
so
and that
never
family
felt
was always close. What was the energy like in your home? Like with all those family members, did you have meals together? Was there cooking?
It really wasn't. We played outside. Sometimes my cousin, he's the same age as me, so we played basketball and football. He taught me how to throw a football when I was like 8 to fit my hand. So
At the park or just on the street?
On the street. I used to play football on concrete with the boys and everything. Climb the fences and just do everything that the boys did. But yeah, no, we didn't really have a lot of meals together except we go to Long Island. My uncles live in Long Island, so for Christmas and Thanksgiving, we all went over there. So that was like a big thing where we all ate together.
What was your room like? Did you have your own room?
I did have my own room.
And what was it like?
The room that I had when I was younger, I had bunk beds.
So did cousins come sleep over, friends and stuff?
I did like that a lot. Yeah, I had a lot of sleepovers. I used to have hamsters. I had a rabbit. His name was Zero, like the kid from Holes.
Wow.
So like, it's a big crush on the kid from Holes.
So cute.
And I had Rottweilers. I had a Rottweiler named Bam Bam. Had a Rottweiler named Bandit. We had another dog
Bam
named
Bam,
Black.
hence that was the first pet.
Yes.
Okay.
But Bam Bam is the second one. That's my baby. I was gonna cheat and say Bandit, but Bam Bam sounds better, and he was technically the first.
Okay.
So, but then we had Bandit and Blackie, and I had birds.
You had a lot of pets.
One of my hamster got cancer in the face.
What? How did you know?
Because her face blew up like a horse, and then my mom was like, I was like, Mom, we have to take her to the vet. I am not going to the vet for no hamster. But she did she was like, and she took me to the vet with this hamster, and they told us that the hamster had a tumor and that we did not do the surgery for the hamster.
No, they don't live that long now.
And then me and my cousin Juice used to collect snails.
Like from the neighborhood? And put them in a tank in your house?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And then one time the snails got loose and my aunt was so mad.
Wait, you had a farm. You had like a zoo in your house.
That's so
Was your
funny.
mom
I forgot.
open to that?
No.
Did she like all these animals too?
It's a good question. I'm gonna ask her. She definitely loved dogs.
The fact that you don't even really know, like, if she hated it, that she didn't express it. You know, she was really supportive of you, it sounds like.
Yeah, and of acting and poetry. She told me when I was 10, Dom, you should try acting. You're so dramatic. I think you could really do it.
Was it her idea?
I always wanted to do performing arts, musical theater, and acting, but I think my mom just really saying that and believing in me, it like lit something in me. And then when I used to write poetry when I was about 12, she used to be like, Dom, you came up with that by yourself? Like, how'd you come up with that?
Was she an artist? Was she creative?
She dances, and she still dances. I mean, she never went to like dance professionally, but that's always something that she wished she would have did.
And you knew that growing up?
Yes, I knew that because she was always dancing. Like every chance she got, still to this day. She's
like what do you mean, in the living room or like?
No, at the party. Like, she's always got to go to a party. My mom was the life of the party, and then she's the first one on the dance floor, and usually the last one to leave. Yeah, my dad is an artist. He knows how to draw, and he writes poetry as well.
So he wasn't in the house with you guys, though?
No, but but again, like my great grandmother lived around the corner. My dad had a Jeep. It was green. And my dad wore a do-rag, and he was real swaggy, and all the guys were like, oh my God, you're a dancer. I used to feel so cool when my dad came to the block because he used to blast his music. He used to blast DMX. So mind you, I'm like 6 and it's like, what do you want from her? Like, and my dad pulls out, I'm like, he's so cool.
Wow, and did your friends think he was cool, and you were like, that's my dad, or you thought he was cool?
I thought he was cool. Wow. And my friends thought he was cool too, and then as I got older, it became, oh, your dad's so cute. Good-looking guy, very charming, funny. Things like that.
Yeah. So you're close to both of them.
Yeah, it definitely fluctuated.
Yeah.
As I got older, just growing pains and things like that. But me and my dad was actually able to have a really good, like, deep talk about things from childhood that really put things in perspective. And he said something like, as long as he's alive, we could always talk about everything. My dad had me when he was 20. So I think as I got older, I started to have more compassion for the fact that he was 20. You know, because you think when you look it up, you're like, oh, he's an adult. He's supposed to know. We're supposed to know. And now,
but
look
now
at myself,
you know
I'm
how
like,
young that is.
I know? Yeah, now I know how young it is. Because when I was 20, I was like, I'm in college, but it still felt like I'm in high school. Like, I thought it was going to feel different.
Yeah.
It didn't feel different.
When you left to go to college, were there things that you missed about Montauk?
No, I kind of really just wanted to get out. I was always a mommy's girl, so I was super close, but I went to Pace University, which is right across the bridge, and I dormed.
My dad went to Pace.
Did he?
Yeah, my dad's from Fort Greene.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And you went to Pace. What did you study?
He studied business.
Nice. Yeah, I went for theater.
You did?
Yes. And but my mom, again, even though it was a private university, so it was very expensive.
Yeah.
I wanted to dorm, and she wasn't like, no, you need to, that don't make no sense. She said, yeah, you should get the college experience. So, when I got to college, I had Pinkberry for the first time, frozen yogurt.
Your brain was like,
I was like, oh my God, what is this frozen yogurt?
Liberation.
And then I told my cousins, like back in I was like, yo, y'all gotta come to the city and get some frozen yogurt.
Because the city was, when you were from the outer boroughs, going to the city was like a different state. It was like, I remember the first time we went to the Village coming from the Bronx. It was like, yo, I'm going to the city. Like it was a whole
big deal.
Different place.
Yeah. But I felt lucky because I did start acting in theater when I was 15. And so I would leave my high school from my basketball practice. I was captain of my basketball team.
Wow.
Yeah, so I used to leave practice to go on every Tuesday to NYU to do this program called MCC, Youth Company, where in order to act, you had to write your own stuff. So I really started writing monologues and poetry.
When you started going into the city and studying at NYU, did it change how you saw your neighborhood? Did you start to see Brownsville in a different light?
I think in hindsight, I was able to see it in a different light. So for example, I graduated valedictorian in my high school in Brownsville.
Wow.
But when I got to Pace, I got admitted in the CAP program, which was for students that needed extra attention from the university.
Wow.
So I was like, how could you be
Big
the
fish,
top?
small pond,
Yeah.
suddenly, yeah.
How could you be the top in one area and then go to just go right across the bridge and not even be considered average? Like that kind of blew my mind. So I have a one-woman show, a play that I talk about this. My lead character, she starts going to school and starts realizing the disparity in education.
Is that part of how you processed what you were going to do, was to write the play?
Yeah, for sure. Because I got there and I was the only Black person in my class, and people kept talking about my enunciation, like how I speak. And so I was like, damn. And, you know, but then but it's so crazy because I would go back to the East and they would be like, oh, you talking like a white girl now. Like, you know, and I was like, what? And so they'd be like, oh, you talk so Brooklyn. I was like, if you heard my sister talk, you'd be like, you know. So my Brooklyn does come out. I have no problem with it. What I was able to learn, somebody put it in perspective, is like, they like to say that it's wrong to speak like that. It's not proper or standard American English. However, when you do a role and they need somebody from Brooklyn, it's right. It's proper.
That's right.
You can't speak standard American because it's wrong.
Specific.
Yeah. So I'd be like, that's my accent, but I have the ability to change it and do what a character needs.
Wow. Was that your first time being aware of an accent, of having an accent?
So this theater director, and he was very encouraging, so I'm sure he's learned now. But he used to call me mushmouth when I was like 15.
Yeah.
So then I had to learn how to enunciate.
Uh-huh.
And yeah.
It's powerful, though, that you got options. But I love that you felt empowered to expand your options of what was possible without abandoning yourself.
I'm very fortunate because I think the authenticity that I'm able to bring to the characters that I gravitate towards is because I feel like I stayed longer. You know, there's a street smarts that you are able to develop, and you stay a little bit longer, and it really does shape you.
When did you start writing?
I started writing poetry when I was about 12. Started writing monologues and things when I was 15 in that theater company, and performing poetry as spoken word in that theater company. And I have a poem, it's called An Ode to My Hood. It's about Brooklyn. I'm having a conversation back and forth with Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, look, you don't have to explain. You don't owe nothing to me. You made me exactly who I want to be. You're my heart. And those who are statistics chose to play the part. Dom, that's not true. Or anybody gets to live in me a struggle.
When did you discover that writing could be a place where you could work out difficult emotions or ideas?
I learned to use that as a tool when I was like 12.
Really?
So when I had to write a poem about feel like I had two dads and I was divided by two because I had a stepdad now, I had to say, oh yeah, my stepdad got my mom pregnant. He went to jail. Like, you know, I said a lot of stuff in this poem and I'm performing it on stages. My mom never said, oh, Dom, you can't say that. She would say, it's your truth too, Dom, you get to say it.
Oh.
And that really, really helped me. I feel like I am the way I am because when I was a kid, I wasn't stifled, then I wasn't told, you can't say that. So I didn't have to bottle that part. We're gonna bottle things up anyway. You're gonna have your traumas, the things you forget, the things you suppress, but at least I didn't have that from my mom, you know?
Do you think that she had to find ways to process it? Like, was it embarrassing for her?
That's a good question. I wish my mom was here. I'll call her on the phone and ask her. She never acted embarrassed. She always just seemed really, really impressed and really proud. I also was very vulnerable in exposing myself. I have this poem called The Guilty One. My grandmother passed away from cancer, and as she got older, my grandma was kind of considered mean. They called her a wrecker because she said whatever she wanted. But that caused like tension, you know. Sometimes she said me things, so I'm upset. And I wrote this whole poem about feeling guilty, like, did I love my grandmother enough? Did I, you know? And so in this poem, I'm very raw about it. But that's also, I'm speaking not only about my grandmother because she's mine, but that's my mother's mother. And my grandma was in the nursing home, and I was crying. So I went to go see my grandmother, and before I got in the room, I said, what's cooking good looking? That's what she always, and I saw her like, you know, like perk up. And then I went in there, we started playing like Rummy Cube and dominoes, and then I had to go to school, and I had a choice to make. It was like, do I apologize? So I just built up the nerve before I left, and I said, Grandma, you know, I'm sorry if I was mean and wasn't a good granddaughter. I'm sorry if I hurt you. She said, well, you act like that on purpose? I said, no, but sometimes when I get mad, I can't, you know, I can't see past it. She's like, I ain't pay your ass no mind. And then she hugged me, and then she just like kissing me on my cheek a lot and kept saying she loved me. And my grandma didn't really seem very affectionate growing up. So that moment was really empowering for me. Yeah. I remember the poem that I wrote about the two dads. I performed it, and you know, this young like white girl, she was probably like 10. So she was crying in the audience, just crying. Afterwards, her mom came up to me, And they were like, she was like, oh, my daughter she said she resonated with your poem so much because she feels divided by two for having two dads. And like, I thought being specific could be alienating, but you learn that in writing, specificity is universal.
Yeah.
Is universal.
Yes.
So I saw that right in front of my face.
Did you do a lot of reading in that house on Montauk?
Ooh, did I do a lot of reading?
Watching movies or TV? Like, how did you entertain yourself?
Played Barbies for sure.
Okay.
I made little home videos with my cousins. Like,
You
gave
did?
them scripts and stuff, and was like, okay.
You were directing.
Yeah, I was. I did that. I had like about 1 or 2, and I lost the tape, so I'm so upset about that. I watched a lot of Disney. I watched a lot of romance. I was a really good student, so I felt like I would come home from school and do my homework before I went outside. I just kind of innately knew that they were gonna still be outside when I was done, and I'd much rather finish it first than go outside and be tired and have to do it at the end.
Yeah, and have your work suffer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to like go to parties with my friends when I became like 16, 17, and I would be like in the corner writing a poem, like with my phone like this, and like writing a poem in the corner of a party. Yeah. But also we had like bachelorette parties and stuff. My family, my grandfather was from St. Vincent, so there is a Caribbean or like a love for reggae and growing up. So I do love bachelorette party. I do love a slow wine.
So was there a lot of Caribbean food in the house?
So ironically, it really was. My grandfather passed away when I was like 6. So that wasn't, but my mom made a lot of spaghetti. I loved her spaghetti, lasagna, things like that. Corned beef hash and things like.
I loved corned beef hash.
What else? Franks and beans and like.
What about for holidays? I know you went out to Long Island.
Oh yes.
Was that a big family meal? Were there a
No,
lot of traditions?
No, not tradition. Just more like the cooked ham, turkey, candy yams, mac and cheese, potato salad.
Yes. Did you do decorations in your home?
My uncles and aunts did. They had the tree up. My mom did that too, but like ironically for me, I don't do it. Like when I first moved to LA, my mom and my sister came for Christmas, the first Christmas, so I bought this very tiny tree. And I was like, this is for them.
So cute. Were they appreciative?
Yes, they were. I don't know. You're gonna take it down anyway, so.
You're not big on holidays?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think I'm not big on it. I think I'm just not big on the display of it. I think I'm big on the feeling of it and the community of it. But I don't really put things around house because I don't personally want to take them down.
I get it. So tell me about in your neighborhood. What were some of the characters in your neighborhood? Like, did you have any street legends?
Really want to know?
Yes. Yes.
My dad's pretty legendary. He's the guy with the dogs. He always he trains dogs, so he always has Rottweiler.
Music and
yeah, exactly. And he has a bird named Chaos, parrot.
That sits on his shoulder?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yep.
Did you feel like, since he was kind of a legend in the neighborhood, did you feel like sort of a princess in the neighborhood? Like,
definitely when he came, that definitely came around. Because again, it was really like a show. You know, because the car, I'm telling you, the green Jeep, and then the music and the pants and the do-rag and all of that.
Did you do dress up and play pretend?
Me and my cousins pretended to be TLC, and I just met them.
In real life?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, did you tell them?
Oh yes. Honestly, I thought I don't get starstruck really, but I just kept saying, you don't even know. Cause I used to be Chili, and my cousin Juana was T-Boz. And so like the little dances and stuff. So I got to like meet her and T-Boz, and the fact that like they knew my work too wasn't just like, that was really incredible. And then as I got older, I started researching them. I felt really connected because you start to hear their behind the scenes story, and you got to hear that like edge on their voice. You know, and just having their attitude. I was like, oh, because you thinking you have to be a certain way, and so then maybe there's no room for my authentic Brooklyn or my authentic like hood or my, you know. But you hear them, it's like, oh, they sound like me.
It sounds like you've always been so connected to your truth and so confident.
Yes.
Was there anything that you were afraid of as that little girl on Montauk?
I always wanted to make music, but I was afraid of making music because I felt like my voice didn't sound like the ones, you know, it's more indie. So when I started hearing Nora Jones and things like that, I was like, oh, that texture is, that's familiar to me. But before, when I was younger, you didn't hear that. If you
Especially
didn't
as
sing
a black
like,
girl.
if you weren't singing like Whitney or Mariah or Beyonce, whoever, like you didn't sing. Can you sing that?
Right.
You know, now we're learning that, oh, it's about your special sauce that you bring. So instead of trying to be something other than what I am, what if I am me? Sometimes I'm like, oh, if I would have just stayed with piano when I was younger, like trying to self-teach, if I would have just stayed in a voice class and not been so hard on myself, where would I be now? But I gave 1,000,000% to acting, and 1,000,000% got me here.
Why do you think singing was more vulnerable for you than acting? Because your acting work is so vulnerable. You are, I'm always so blown away by how much you lay your soul to bear. As you know, I love your work. So what was it about singing that felt more vulnerable, scary?
I think that for whatever reason with acting, I just knew that I had it. And nobody really said I didn't, but even if they did, it just didn't matter because I knew there was like a raw talent in me. Like I just knew that I had that. With singing, it just felt like I had to learn more about pitch and hearing a tone. Like, you know, like I felt like my voice was like kind of closed down on itself. And then I started getting like where I wouldn't open my mouth to sing at all. Like if I tried, I would be stuck. But then when I get on stage and do spoken word, it's like a lion. That's right. It's like
interesting.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think too that I had more confidence as an actor because I could be other people, and singing is more.
That's true. That might be it as well.
It's really you, not you like revealing you behind a character, but just you.
Yeah, because even if somebody else writes the song, it's still your name, your identity,
your oxygen.
Yeah. And I think too, I learned that there's different levels of vulnerability. I thought I was vulnerable. And then when I set out to have more intimate relationships, if I felt too vulnerable to say it, I wouldn't say it. I act like it don't exist. But you learn that in real life. Harder. Yeah. So now I started being like, oh, I thought I was one way, and I don't think I'm actually that way.
You're so aware. You're so self-aware.
Montauk is a special street. It's also a sad street as well. Like one of the young boys that I knew growing up, like I found out a couple years ago, like maybe like 2-3 years ago, he got killed. Right? But you know, you learn a lot of people around the neighborhood gets killed. I wrote a post about it, but I was like, yeah, I feel really betrayed by Montauk because you're the block that everything was supposed to be good on. Like, so this person that we all care about had to lose his life on this block, on this particular block. So I have that kind of relationship with Montauk or other blocks around my neighborhood. I saw somebody get shot before, like 3 times right in front of me.
3 different times or shot 3 times?
Yeah, shot 3
times.
Yeah. And so before, maybe I blocked all of that stuff out because when people would ask me, I'm like, oh no, my childhood was amazing. We played double dutch. I could jump double. So kids can't even jump double dutch no more. I rode bikes, jumped double dutch, pogo sticks, played skelly, everything on that block. So I remember my childhood just being so much fun. But I didn't realize that I suppressed a lot of memories, or I'm forgetting, or my brain is suppressing so that I can survive, so that I can keep going, but didn't know that it was staying inside. So I grew up being like, oh, Montauk is the best. And now I feel like Montauk is a dichotomy, but it's okay.
But it's okay. That complexity is, I feel like, a sign of maturity, right? When you can hold the darkness and the light and have them both be true.
I mean, we're here in a world of duality, and that's what we do. You can't have the light without the dark, and so that's what I started to just practice, even in like choosing roles, you know, because I was used to being in the light, and then when I chose differently, I was nervous because we sometimes don't want to look at shadows, and we don't want to go in the dark, and we don't want to play in the dark because we're afraid.
But you consistently find the light in that dark, in those dark spaces.
Thank you so much.
What would you go back and say to that little girl on Montauk if you could go back and say something to her?
I would tell her that to remember that love is freedom and that everybody is growing at their own pace. And so sometimes we feel like love looks this way, and when it doesn't look the way we think it is, it means that we're not loved or they don't love us. But that's not true. Everybody comes with their own capacity for love. And so if I thought when I was younger, like if my dad didn't come around when he said he did, like, no, my dad doesn't love me, right? But then I think, oh, my dad, if I'm 6, my dad's 26. Like, you know, he's only using what he has the knowledge of using.
He's capable.
He's capable, the amount of love he's capable of, or the conditioning, or how did this person grow up in their household?
Right. What tools do they have?
And so instead of being so rigid about love and then getting like hard about it and tensing up, to try to to be easy and breathe easy and know that love is freedom. And then when you give freedom, you find that you're better off for it. Because if love does come and go, because you always knew that love was free, you wouldn't it would hurt, yes, of course, but it doesn't have to stay in your body. Yeah. I owe her a lot. I think she had a lot of resilience to be like, it doesn't matter that this company didn't accept me. It doesn't matter that LaGuardia didn't accept me. I'm going to do it. It doesn't matter that my guidance counselor told me I didn't have the it factor, when I was 12. She told me that. And I cried all the way from IS 302 in East New York all the way to Montauk Avenue. I sat there and I walked to the street and I'm crying.
You kept going.
Yeah, I kept going. It's the resilience. And so now that's why I'm like, why not do a little bit more music stuff? Because now I feel like I owe her.
What do you mean you feel like you owe her?
I had to get out of my neighborhood. I used to say this thing like, I know I have to be an actor because I can't wake up and do something I don't love every day because I'm gonna be miserable and then everybody around me is gonna be miserable. Cause I have a big personality. So I just didn't want to torture everybody around me. So I just said, so Dom, you have to do that.
To be happy.
You have to be happy. You have to wake up every day and do what it is you love to do. So I had tunnel vision towards that thing. And my younger self also had that like dream of like making music and stuff, but it just seemed like the acting came natural.
So you kind of pushed
her
aside.
So I pushed her aside. And maybe we made an agreement like, hey, look, I'll come back.
Come
back
for me.
Yeah, I'll come back for you.
I'll
come back for you. And so all of these years have been in my spirit and my soul, like, you got to do it. I remember I was doing a project and it was my first like really big one, and I was really depressed. And I was like, dang, I'm like, how you gonna be depressed? You're in a hotel room bigger than the apartment you have. You're doing your first big movie and you're depressed. And I remember like talking to God and like praying, and then hearing my spirit say, you have to remember what it is you love, that you don't need anything earthly from. And that meant like, I love acting, but now is how I pay my bills. Now it's like, what's my next role? Because I have this lifestyle to live, and I don't want to go back to my hood. So it was like, now there's a need on it. But music, it was like, I don't need to make money from it. I don't need to support my lifestyle, but it's always in my spirit.
It keeps calling you back. If you could take one thing from Montauk and bring it into your life today, a person, an object, a feeling, what would it be?
Oh man, I got this tattoo. It says, "Be yourself, love." It's in my mom's handwriting. And it's actually, it's actually inspired by somebody who I met on Montauk. I will pick the person that told me this saying, because I feel like when it came into my life, I expanded as a person, my compassion, my ability to see things, my ability to see myself change, and it inspired me to grow, electrified me. They are Montauk to me.
It says, be yourself.
Be yourself, love. As simple as the saying may be, when they said it, I really needed it. Because I was getting what I wanted in my career, but I didn't feel like I was alive. I just was like this, like set free, and that was a real gift to me, and I'm a better person because of it. So
when you think about the story of your life, the kind of unfolding fairy tale of your beautiful story, because you are the hero of this story, how does the story begin? Once upon a time in Brooklyn, East New York, there was a girl who knew that she came here for something really special, that it had to do with the arts, and then she decided to follow her North Star, which is her soul, and it led her to many, many wonderful adventures that we will get to see. But are still unfolding.
They're still unfolding.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much.
This is so amazing. I love it so much. You're so special. This is special. Your crew, I feel the energy is so nice.
I'm so grateful for Montauk.
Ah, me too. So grateful. Shout out to Montauk, East New York. What's up?
Everybody be yourself, love.
Yay!
Thank you so much for watching. It was incredible to be able to talk to Dominique about Montauk and all the things she learned there. I know that I will be remembering to be myself, love. Be yourself, love. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking and subscribing and spreading the word. If you want to hear more about another street in New York City, the one that I grew up on, please pick up Thicker Than Water. Enjoy it. Thank you for being here. See you soon.